Hello, viewers. You are welcome to this week's edition. Our topic for discussion is mothers have profoundly shaped the faith and I am or hope to be, I owe to my mother. And somehow managed to have weekly Bible studies and prayer from all the theologians in England. Faithful mothers like Hannah, all these biblical research children are more likely to become. To join me have the discussion is our own sister, Stewart, Auntie Vida, welcome, and a UN peace advocate. Also, let me remind you viewers that we are live on our social forms, also our WhatsApp number 05. I think today we are well balanced, brethren, and one
wish.
who you first. You know, I call you Auntie Vida, forgive me. I'll come to you first, going to be like.
Now, growing up, how I experienced what mothers did when I was a child. The households that I knew about, including do all kinds of things to support. So I just knew that and then, like you said in your introduction, how challenging it might be, but all around me in a way that, or when I started raising children, get it right. It is not easy to get it right. And there's so many variables involved. From the mistakes we make, the wrong decisions and all.
You, you are my sister in, and to raise children of faith.
With me, there's no way you could see, so there was no excuse for that. And actually, it was fun. It was fun.
Okay.
So it was very difficult. Suffered to take care of us. We had no house. Raise kids, yes.
Okay.
Because they always none.
Okay.
They had none.
Okay.
They trained hard it was. How hard our parents, your house help. Take us who washed our clothes. But growing up, we had to learn the hard.
Let me come to you and children raised with or we were. Do you?
Nah. And it's about getting things done. However, I try to distinguish between which I have or which is done for them. Yes, it is much easier. Can afford a house help or a nanny, I would say, is a bit easier.
Yeah.
Nana, one of Nana's daughters, is yes. She has to take for her. It's about helping her interfering with what we as parents think. So many I call interferences. Interfere to a large extent because that association in that company with your content matter. And at that time, if your mother, because by default you are sitting and really nurturing.
As you come back from work, you are exhausted. Me. And so she comes up with this whole idea that once, it's even not a day, it's a weekend, an activity. She wants you to be excited. Okay. I think my next question is, so I want this, do we do it? To school. I could come to church for rehearsals or whatever I want. But now, today, I need to take them everywhere. The times are dangerous. Practically, anything else, church related or except school, even home at 4:30 to beat traffic, to be, what am I doing? We were lucky enough to have that else.
And one of the things I often tell young parents is we have to be compared with the time I was raising my children. Now my daughter is 29, my son is 27. There were some hard decisions I had to make.
Okay.
So I told God, when my son is 5 years old, I want to go back to work. Terribly difficult times. Currently, the world is so different. And then I started work when my son was 5 years old. And this was when I got the job, I sat with them and my son asked was, who will cook for us? Now, I also had to agree with them. We would eat out at any place that they wanted. And then sometimes intentionally found somebody for anything that I thought I had to do for them, and they would make planned that whenever I get back, we are making tea or we are eating biscuit. Now, fast forward intentionality. Prophet, a lot of what do you expect this child to be doing when they are older? And everybody is standing.
They need
They
their
would want to
phone.
take their phone, doing all kinds of things while they have to get up and find something to do outside. Parenting has to be intentional.
Intentional.
The children that we were when we were younger,
No.
they take in, they will hear a lot, see a lot. I think I've spoken a lot. Let me pause.
I, for instance, working, I closed my shop just to take care of my kids. It was just 3 months to my recruitment. So I decided to just take care of my kids. So I decided to train them and shout. You just signal and that's it. You leave one or leave all.
Okay, sacrifice.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yes.
And so that is where the balance, young mothers in church, obviously overwhelmed, not know. It's a way of, is it trauma from their own childhood, not wanting it like that. Where everything they want, they want. And maybe the Bible talks about, should we think about something like, we teach, usually I'm all for practically at the same time, but we found ourselves that we share, we mix. It helps because my mother not even when you sometimes within the but it helps that peer support sort of about teaching how to raise the tooth fairy and things like that. And we are losing.
And what you have started is a bit, as a church, I think that was during Reverend Mante's time, where we had meetings over challenges and all that. And then somewhere along the line, it just, we, for example, were with share.
Exactly.
So maybe what can happen is with couples, perhaps a younger generation, sometimes I keep saying parents just decide that the easier way out is to just give the phone to. Interestingly, our time when we were growing up, having it, we are having to explain or we need. Now there are a lot of parents who don't know about that and only know yes and no. So when parents keep shouting, stop it, Nana, stop it, Mommy, stop it, parents shouldn't feel shy to speak to older parents. There are also a lot of older parents who ask me some questions from time to time and I share with them. And some of the children need it. And I keep telling people, younger parents are also raising children for a completely different world.
Yes.
You'd
have to.
It's about picking those you help mold that into their being. So you don't just let it happen by default.
Quite a lot. And sometimes they're different. Let's admit them. He did something, I'm reprimanding him, he says, I'm explaining. I said, because he was determined to explain. How explaining? And you're hearing, don't talk back. I just don't. Anyway, viewers, actually gone. You can send your questions and comments on our social media.
With the growing challenges of life and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their maker, it is out. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon. And let's talk about life as Christians. The Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within nations on the many issues of life through the Christian marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with. Let's talk about life as Christians.
Welcome back, Trinity United Church Legon. You can send your questions. So before we went on the
Gen Z world, you see, we have to train our kids. And when we're born into the new era, you are now going to watch your kids thing. You are going to, mommy, my homework. You see, you get frustrated. You want to see them. It's either you force them to go and sleep or. Firstborn told me, Mommy, I didn't ask you to bring me to the ability. We were born to train others by learning from our forefathers. I decided to, instead of making you watch television, do gardening or I see my first one likes to be indoors. Because if I shout, Mommy, so at least if we also, you might end up, so most of it's not easy.
Okay.
It's maybe a music class, something to keep them busy.
Yeah. This of raising children in this world. Anyway.
If I should add to what Nana has said, sometimes to a large extent, I think that if we determine that we will young parents who are doing a fantastic job, are good parents, and they are being intentional about own frustrations and all that, and if you are not careful, you are letting it sit, which is something I teach a lot in the cause of your frustration. The previous customer, they said, but it's difficult. I said, yes, that is why you are professional. And that's what, now, is in the background. It is what I say. You would earlier. School, the colleagues, go and tell the head teacher, the principal, and this and sometimes house helps in the communities and in which we live, and our children hear what other children are saying.
Yeah.
A child in the way they should. What are they here to? Now you take your food and then you just dig your cutlery. So there's a lot to do with what we are doing. These are completely different. As I was growing up, I don't want my child to experience pain. To experience a bit of pain. Sometimes they have to lack a bit. And I'll biscuit. No, it's not about you not wanting it. But if we do that, and we are using the word training a lot. If we condition children in a way that what is upset, that he doesn't know what is going on.
That's, we really do need to be intentional. I said Jacob stole Esau's blessing. And his parents sent Jacob away because they did 2 women. And so then he went to see my son. I've forgotten his name. Ishmael. He went to see Ishmael and then like you grew up, you were among the women in the land. You were not supposed. Our children, I don't know, maybe by osmosis, they will just take about it. So even in the raising of our children, to them, maybe because of my line of there is an unfair expectation placed on mothers do a lot more. And
What fair means?
is that fair? Yes, yes. Their fathers are not even mentioned about mothers, but is it fair?
Now, there are a lot of the role of mothers in the life. To go out of the home to work. Or maybe they sew and they will go to the shop and it's possible for them to make the necessary adjustment. And the men, in fact, sometimes then the parents need to sit and agree, as an extended family. The first words you think you should be saying that they should be saying.
Yeah.
But once we are forfeiting that, but what have we done about it? Have we talked about it? Have we agreed to abduct? They deserve it. Making the effort to do it and to you.
But when it comes to if I put this here, this will be okay. Meanwhile, the person might be 10, 12, or bring up a child.
Yeah.
And I think most of those things cause
About because especially from where I sit, mother is doing everything. Mother is overburdened. I not even see the child again. Coming for appointments. We don't have social support systems as church family. And I had one. The boy, because his seizures were almost always not controlled. OPD to inform us that the mother is coming. We meet her to make sure that the hospital experience was pleasant. But as a church community, in caring for their children.
I think parents couldn't even attend church. So I think they brought up most of indie. There was one girl who was with my auntie and said, Mama, most of the time it's not necessarily our fault, but they halted it. God has a house in my hometown.
Yes. Yeah. Has a whole haven.
So I don't know if...
But
ask yourself.
This who has stopped going to church. Well, she just came to the country. She does the children, she comes back home. She hasn't found missionary land. You're like, Nana, a church in Ireland. Somebody will go and pick your child from the house, drop them at school. Somebody will pick them back from hospital. We will be taking money from her every Sunday. When she finds a church like, and sometimes these are some of the things that people are looking. They didn't feel welcome. They didn't feel nobody. But aside that, accepted.
Yes.
Because if somebody believes that we are in Mental Health Awareness Month, if you call me and we have resources in the church so that people, it's educational, such people are supported, such people can. When you have a man breaking down in your consultation room saying that doctor, this was a father, but
It's unfortunately love and support to others. Because I can't tell when you. So if you need support, ask. Identify others who have a similar situation where we can ask the church to make time. A lot of us don't know what to do. Special needs. I don't even know what to say to them beyond, oh, hello. My point about if you need support, please, is that you spoke about. But in terms of 3 days or for a weekend, can I find some? Ask. Now, until you.
Fears. Mothers of
them
might
are
not.
aggressive.
Yes, they might not want to. So I think we should also seek.
okay. And then Sunday is Mother's Day. Trinity night.
Once we have sponsors, no problem.
I would like to ask about nothing.
Okay.
Okay. Final thoughts. Close. If you have been not without reward due, but
And let me add, not just to the children you have, and it's a fulfilling one. And even in what we are saying, if there's a line that says, so I've been reflecting on that. A child showing every New Year's Day. And recently, it's work, it's a lot of work, but it's so fulfilling. And so, but, and I have a mother that I go to every Thursday. So it doesn't matter what age they are.
let's look around. Let's see
look
what we
around.
can do.
Let me put it that way. I think we also need help.
Okay. So
Because
Makagu
Makagu from yeah. At least if we could switch.
Yeah. So thank you viewers for watching. Sister Vida Kwapo in your host Nana Yadubia Brown.